Carlos Nelson with What's Up Kansas City, and today we have special guests from Parks and Recreation. Who do we have here?
Leslie Alford. I'm the Communications and Development Manager for KC Parks and Rec.
Tell our audience a little bit about what your responsibility is.
So our division is small, but we oversee a lot. So we handle all the internal and external communications for the Parks Department. External communications include social media, website, advertising, any marketing we do. We also have events under this division, so cultural activities with Melinda Minks and Carol Green handles a lot of neighborhood events. That's in our division. And then we also have added Kelly Jander. She's our KC Parks Ambassador Manager, and so we have started a volunteer group of ambassadors. Right now, they're doing a lot of litter pickups, picking up a lot of trash because a lot of people are using our parks.
If you might describe what they're doing in general, what their position. You said what their position. What are they doing in the park?
So the ambassadors mainly right now have been helping with planting some flowers and picking up trash. We've been a little limited because we haven't really been able to gather them together. But Kelly's been working with them one-on-one and just trying to educate, train, vet them. So we have a small nucleus of about 25 volunteers right now, all throughout the city. And right now they're really helping with the litter.
That's what I was going to ask you.
They just did Truce Park on Saturday.
How do you find our public participation, per se, in not littering? And do you think that they understand that what that does, and how does that affect your budget, or is all of that volunteer?
No, we have crews that actually pick up trash on a regular basis. So what we're trying to do is help our crews with things. The ambassadors are designed to help our crews with things that maybe they can do, so then our crews can work on mowing and beautifying and tree trimming and things that are a lot more dangerous that our volunteers can't do. Like just Saturday, there was a great little group at Truce Park, and it was pretty dirty when they got there, and it looked magnificent when they ended up. But then they realized, it'd be helpful if we got some rakes, because right on the water edge, there's a lot of litter, and you kind of need something to help you. So we're going to be getting more tools. But Kelly said it was really cool because they picked up an area, and all of a sudden some goslings started hanging out there once the litter was picked up.
I'm really happy that you're paying attention to that urban core, because my other officers are down on Vine, and we tend to have more trash than other areas.
Why is that?
Well, I'm saying, this is what I was saying about cooperation, and it's a myriad of problems. How you were brought up, your environment and what have you. People go by, throw the trash out the window, out the car. That the shelter and everything there. And when I was in construction, I put most of those shelters up.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, there and right there off of Brooklyn also. And so I really have a first-hand knowledge. And then you have a whole lot of traffic down there, especially once Parks and Rec fill up that lake with the fish, and people, they just do that. But what I would say, and I don't know whether you would know, how many trash containers are in the area?
I don't know how many trash containers are at that one park. I do know that some of our areas, we struggle with trash receptacle containers disappearing. And so it is what comes first, the chicken or the egg. So we're just trying to coordinate volunteers, have good modeling, provide the receptacles where they're needed that can stay there.
Right.
And then, our guys go through and empty the trash. Now, right now, which is great, our parks are being utilized at record numbers.
I utilize it.
But there's so many people just down at Swope Park and Shelter 7. It's constantly busy, which is awesome. But then sometimes the trash pickup is every other day, and it probably should be every day right now. We just don't have the resources for that. So we're all doing the best we can. And so I do think right now our parks are looking really good. Everybody's working really hard. I think we could use a little litter education campaign, maybe, KC safe, KC clean, KC great, or something, helping people understand we want a safe
You're
KC.
so clever.
But we want a clean KC, and we want a great KC.
Yeah, I'm saying I think that is definitely should be on the books, because I try to walk a couple of times a week if I can get away, and on Sundays I'll try to go over to Loose and do the trail, and then a lot of times I go down here off of Truce and 47th Street and utilize that. They have the nice walking trails, but I think in the urban core, and it's nothing against the urban core people, I think that a campaign would really strike home. You want a clean environment. These are some of the things that we need to work on.
And we're seeing that. I mean, we right now we're working on the Make a Difference While You Distance campaign with the ambassadors. And so we're encouraging people that when you go to the parks or trails, take an extra bag of trash and some gloves, pick it up and leave it by the trash can, and then our crews will pick up that trash. And so we've got signs up at 8 different problemed areas, which Truce Lake, Swope Park, Blue Valley Park, Spring Valley Park. We have quite a few areas identified, and we have the Make a Difference campaign signage there. Our volunteers are going there on a regular basis. But I'm hoping with the signage that the patrons will look at it and say, maybe I should pick up trash. There's 3 things that are great about picking up trash. For one, it's excellent exercise. I mean, if you've ever picked up trash for an hour, it's a workout.
I've had it.
And
Community service.
And
I've done
it should be on my iWatch, picking up trash as an exercise, but it's not yet. So maybe we can work on that. But it's great, exercise. It's great for the environment, because if it's on the ground, it ends up in our water supply. Whatever trash you throw out is going to end up in your water supply, and the more you pick up, the less is in our river and makes our water better. But the other thing that most people don't really talk about is the psychological benefit of picking up trash. You go to a park, and let's say you're just kind of having a blue day, you're not feeling the greatest. You go to a park that's got litter, and you pick up all of that trash, and then you look at it again, and it really does it helps bring some endorphins because you're making a difference. And so, there's a lot of components to make a difference while you distance. But, for anybody that's out there, maybe this COVID situation is really bringing you down. You go out all by yourself or with the family that you're, quarantining with. Take some trash bags, pick it up together, and I guarantee you that your personal well-being will be at a higher level at the end than before.
All right.
I promise you that.
Yeah. So tell us some other things that y'all are doing over there.
You want to know a really good story about Loose Park?
Run it down.
It's a good story. I've been at parks for a year and a half. I've been amazed by our staff. We have some of the greatest staff ever. But Loose Park, I did not realize this. There's only 5 staff people that pretty much run all that. We have a contractor that mows, and we have some, our maintenance guys help repair stuff. But you've got 5 people out there. They've all worked there 20 to 30 years. That core of people have 120 years serving at Loose Park. And so longevity, yes, Loose Park is magnificent. It's an arboretum. We do have extra funding that comes from a foundation that goes into that, but also I think those 5 people make Loose Park what it is. And so kudos to Judy and Tara and all the crew out there, because
shout out
to Judy and Tara and everybody at Loose Park, because they make a difference. And I think the decades of service to that one park is truth telling.
What do you know about the Japanese Teahouse there?
Well,
and
I saw it.
A lot of our people don't even know that that's there.
I saw it for the first time 2 months ago when we had a KC Parks Ambassador orientation meeting there. We used one of the meeting rooms at Loose Park, and it was right next to the tea room. I'm a Kansas City native. I worked for parks and I hadn't seen it. It's a really quaint room that is authentic to a true Japanese tea room, which I've never been to Japan. I don't know if I'll ever get to be there in my lifetime, but I do think that I would like to experience, once all this is, the COVID's over and it opens up again, they have opportunities to participate and have tea in that tea room. But it's beautiful and it's very authentic. You sit on these pillows and, you know, it's definitely different looking than what we're used to in Kansas City, but it is beautiful and it is different and it's very educational.
Do you know whether that's they rent it out or how?
Well, all I know is we do offer classes and they do charge a fee. And so it's not necessarily free to the public, but you can go see it, but you can't necessarily use it without permission.
How do you see, and I don't know whether this is in your bailiwick, because when I went, there's so many people using the parks, the bathrooms, the porta potties. Do you think that they might need more porta potties? I want to use one.
They just added some more to Loose Fork. We have a permanent restrooms right now. Today's May 15th, but right now we are not opening we have 18 public restrooms and we are not opening them up because we do not have the staff to adequately clean them. So what we're doing is for those highly utilized parks right now, we're adding more porta potties. Major problem, the sanitizer gets stolen that day. The second we put it out. So if you're gonna come to the parks, you may want to bring your own sanitizer because we can't keep it in the
those
porta
are
potties.
things that I would have never thought
we haven't really publicized that, so you're the first to know.
Right, well...
Are you feeling special?
Yes, but I want my audience to know...
Don't steal
don't take the daggone sanitizer and bring your own.
Yeah.
You see, look over there. You see the bottles there?
You got a 6-pack. Can I borrow some?
Well, I had 12-pack, but I be giving them away. And all these desks, I keep sanitizer because we don't want to be spreading this virus.
Well, and honestly, right now, if you can wait and go home, you're better off if you go to the park, use the park, and then go home for facilities. But that's not always possible, and we know that. But we are trying to keep our staff safe and the public safe with the staff we have. You know, KC Parks has 220 parks, more than 12,000 acres, only 350 staff.
That's a lot.
That's not very many staff to maintain
I'm saying that's a lot
parks.
Of parks.
That's a lot of parks. And we do have contractors that do mowing, and we do that for one, to help make it work, but also to help those small businesses. We work really hard. Kevin Evans is our superintendent over all the parks. He works really hard with the mowing contractors. For one, it's a stable income to get that stable mowing contract from us. And they know when they're going to get paid and how much they're going to get paid, so it helps stabilize some businesses. But we do have expectations of those people as well, and so he's working really hard at getting the best contractors to do the best service, and ideally the contractors that live in those neighborhoods where those parks are is what we try to do. That's not always possible because sometimes you have bigger groups that want to help. But it's
cutting you off for a minute. Talk about the Boulevards, because Parks and Rec in charge of our Boulevards.
We're in charge of everything, just about.
and keeping them up to par, because they on top of that. I would say, because I'm riding up and down the Boulevards, it looks like they cutting every day.
Yeah. So we do have some contractors and some staff that help maintain the boulevards and parkways. And so what the boulevards and parkway system is, it was created in the late 1800s, 1900s when the park plan came through. And the whole design is to have a city within a park. So you have this whole green pathway. So when you go all the way down to 150th Street, all the way up past the airport, there is a parkway or boulevard that you can take that's called the Century Highway.
Didn't know anything about that.
And so, you know, it meanders. You go from Paseo up to Choteau, up that way, and then you've got different boulevards and parkways that take you down to 150th. But that was really designed so that when you're traveling through the city, you have something beautiful to look at. We have so much green space. I do think that part of the reason why Kansas City is doing okay through COVID-19, and I say it carefully because I know there's people that have gotten really sick. I know there's people that have died. So when I say okay, believe me, I'm taking those people
compared to what's going on.
Comparatively to the rest of the world, we have so much open space that it does enable us to exist with less of a risk than other major cities.
I'm from New York, and boy, you're packed in like sardines there.
And we're not here.
Right.
You know, we have ability to be outside and to be distanced. I mean, Luce Park, if everybody walks counterclockwise and everybody walks in a rhythm or is careful when they're passing, you can safely be outside in our parks in massive, beautiful areas without being in danger. And there's also a lot of parks, like Blue Valley Park is practically desolate all the time. You've got Swope Park that is huge.
My ex-wife says, I didn't know that there's, she was telling me the other day that she walks 5 miles in Swope Park. And I was like, well, where do you start? She gave me a
So we are starting next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 10:30 a.m., SilverSneakers. So Sharonda and Ramon are going to start at the Swope Interpretive Building, and they're going to have chairs, they're going to do exercises, they're going to walk. So our SilverSneakers is back outdoors at Swope Park, 10:30, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But then there's also a huge walking trail around Swope. They closed it off, and it's actually about a 2-mile loop. And so if you do it a couple of times, that's 4 miles.
All right, well, that's what she must be doing. All right, you had sent me some information on the daycare. Let's talk about that.
Day camp. So right now, KC Parks is offering day camp for $10 a day at Greg Kleiss Community Center. We don't have very many children enrolled in the program. Parents are just now going back to work. But for those parents that have to work, we are offering it at $10 a day. Starting June 8th, we start our summer camp program, and some of our community centers are already full because our numbers are much smaller. We're limiting fewer numbers. Depending on the size of the community center, some of our community centers are really big. Some of them are a little bit smaller, but KC North and Tony Aguera are already booked.
I'm surprised that Kleiss Center's not booked.
Yeah, I think a lot of parents, for one, a lot of parents are right at home and aren't, having to go back to the office. But as people are moving back into the office, more families are bringing their children in. And KC Parks, we want to serve those. Our staff is very careful. We also are offering free lunch at Greg Kleiss, Southeast, and KC North through the Total Man group. And so there's hot lunch that's being served out of those community centers. So right now, the kids that are at Greg Kleiss are getting free lunch, free snacks. Not free, their parents are paying $10 a day, but $10 a day is a pretty good deal.
Please.
And they seem pretty happy. And then summer camp is only $60 a week. And so that'll start June 8th.
What age groups?
5 to 13, I think. 5 or 6 to 13, school age, whatever school age is. And so they're still going to do activities, but they're going to be modified. The groups are going to be in groups of 10. Masks will be available. We'll be keeping them in their nucleus group so that, they're with the same kids every day. They've got their names and numbers and contacts. We're monitoring them. We're asking if your child's sick, they stay home. If staff is sick, they stay home. Washing often. We're taking all the protocol. Terry Reinhardt, our director, has been working very closely with the health department and the mayor's office. We want to do everything we can to serve the public, offer what we can, but to be safe, And so they're doing a pretty good job, and we're offering what we can.
Keeping it moving. The Northland is really expanding and a lot of growth. Talk about the Northland a little bit.
Well, the Northland, Line Creek Ice Arena, Line Creek Community Center, they are chomping at the bit to get back on the ice rink. And so
they got an ice rink out there?
There's an ice skating rink out there.
All I knew was Crown Center.
One of the least expensive arenas that you can rent. So we have a lot of hockey teams. There is free, when everything's back to normal, they offer opportunities to learn how to play hockey for free, how to learn about curling. That game in the Olympics. They've got a curling. They've got figure skating. We have open skate, And so there's opportunity to go ice skating up there, but they also offer day camp. And so there's day camp at the ice arena. But the one good thing is our staff is pretty smart. So usually every summer we shut down and we redo the ice.
Mm-hmm.
They did it during the shutdown. And so brand new ice on the Line Creek Ice Arena. All the staff have been sanitizing and cleaning our community centers so they are cleaner than they've ever been. And the staff is just reorganizing and regrouping and just trying to, kind of open it up. Community centers, kind of making them life centers, opportunities to have a better life.
Things are never going to be the same again. Tell me this. I don't know whether you would know this. How is all of this affecting Parks and Rec's budget?
Well, it will impact our budget. And they're talking about it now. They're committed to not cutting staff, but I do think
all them parks, you cut some staff, you really will be in trouble.
Yeah, because we don't have much staff, but yeah, they're really crunching numbers. We're trying to be as frugal as possible with opportunities. Still providing the most beautiful parks, the most services, and just trying to be smart with what we do. We are not going to have all the programming that we've had in the past. I don't think we're going to have all of our pools open, just because some of our pools have so much stuff to touch. But we don't honestly know right now today what the pool plan is, because we're trying to follow the health departments. So right now we're going to be opening up next week.
Dr. Rex, he's
yeah.
You getting the orders from headquarters?
Yeah. I mean, Terry respects each division or each department in the city, and so we have to work together. I mean, we all serve the public. We all have to be on the same page, and Terry and our deputy directors are working really hard to do that. And so, just trying to figure that out. I do know that starting next week, we are opening back the dog parks with social distancing. We're going to have to keep encouraging the people that use the dog parks, hey, social distance. Don't ruin it for everybody. But the good thing is right now, they reseeded all of our dog parks and they never looked better.
You know what? This has been somewhat a blessing in a certain way. From my perspective, nature has been able to reclaim some things.
Breathe.
My next thing is, how is this going to affect the zoo?
Well, they're opening tomorrow.
But they're opening tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right.
And there's lots of, you have to make an appointment. There's spacing guidelines. But it's an open air and there's a lot of space. And as long as everybody goes in with their family and stays with their family, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, the animals are there, the animals are safe, there's a lot of space, and so they're just going to be working on keeping the families at a distance from each other and keeping their staff safe.
Is there anything specifically you want to let our audience know before we wrap up?
Let's just say, respect our parks and pick up after yourself.
Alrighty, as in closing, as we always say, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself. Good night.